All right, which is my favorite thing to say apparently every flipping time. Welcome back. I don't even know what episode this is because we might scrap one that we filmed, but it's the fourth time we've recorded, so it's either gonna be episode 3 or 4. Have fun with figuring that out. Talking to myself in that one, everyone. What we're going to talk about today is the idea of American sitcoms. Sorry, Korea, but
Sorry.
K-coms, and so J-coms, all the Asian country initial, and then followed by a thing like pop. But we're gonna be talking about American sitcoms, which actually was birthed.
What old time radio?
But we're gonna be talking about American television sitcoms because that's what I like: television and movies. We've already done a movie episode. Got a decent amount of views. Thank you, everyone who watched. We're definitely getting
Appreciate
more
it.
static. I meant to say friction, but I said static. Or friction on YouTube than we are Spotify. That's not a diss call or anything, because I would watch on YouTube personally because I did add visuals, so it makes sense. So thank you, everyone on the YouTube. Remember to comment and like and subscribe and all that fun YouTuber jazz. Especially the comments parts, though, because it helps us if we haven't seen something, whether it's a movie or a sitcom, to now be able to check it out or hear why people enjoy it.
That'd be awesome.
So that's like why I really care about the comments, interaction, whatever it happens or it doesn't. So we have a little list here of 6 questions that we're going to kind of run through. But I do think everyone deserves a quick, super fast introduction to the idea of an American sitcom being a televised series, usually based around comedy, but it doesn't always have to be a pure comedic thing, which I actually only really found out about recently when doing research for this, because there are some of them that just like fall into this category that I wouldn't think would, like MASH. And I get that MASH is a comedy in definition, but in reality, MASH, if you've ever seen it, did you ever see MASH growing up?
I never saw MASH growing up. No.
Yeah, it's like one about a military gaggle of dudes who are like, we're too dumb or too smart or too cool for the military, but yet we're in it for like 29 seasons or so. It's like ridiculous how long MASH is.
It's 11 seasons. I'm looking at it right now.
It's insane.
That's crazy. 11 seasons. That's wild.
Of being in the military. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it is.
I was in the military. How
for
long?
11
seasons.
Don't you mean tours? I don't. So, I mean, the definition of sitcom actually does have the word comedy in it, but it is interesting because there's definitely not really always comedy aspects, which is something we'll talk about because some of the best sitcoms have serious undertones most of the time. Not most, or you just like, there's times where it has that seriousness to it, and I think that really brings it all together. Like, a comedy show should definitely be a comedy show, but a sitcom, if I wasn't reading a definition in my head, is like a show centered around either a family or a group of friends living life and experiencing life at its extremes.
Yeah.
But growing up, Khalil and I being 90s babies, we saw a lot of syndicated reruns of 70s, 80s, and then we grew up with 90s and 2000s sitcoms. So I think another thing I want to throw in the definition of sitcoms is it has to have a reoccurring cast, and it also usually has aspects of sketch comedy in it, which is crazy to think about, but they truly do. Like, whether it's, the classic example would be, not classic, the easy example would be like Family Guy with cutaways. That's literally a sketch inside of a show. But you can stop and, like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has cutaways. Fun fact of the day for people who haven't watched it.
Oh my god, I don't actually remember that. That's wild.
They always did the hazy, and they do it in things like Saved by the Bell as well, where they do the hazy, and then it would cut away to like a thought bubble, pretty much, of the just a skit, pretty much, with the characters of the show. But the first ever, by definition, television sitcom is one called Mary Kay and Johnny. I've heard of it, never seen it in my life, but it ran for 3 years. Props to them.
Never heard of it.
But yeah, I was interested to learn about that being like the first televised broadcast of a sitcom in America. So yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to do is just run through our list then. It's been a lot of me talking, so we'll have Khalil and I talk about it. So the first thing we have written down is the idea of evolution of sitcoms. I mean, the oldest sitcom that I have seen, and I've seen it actually in full, and I loved it growing up, and I have the DVDs, not in this room, but somewhere, of I Love Lucy. And
Oh, you have the DVDs?
yeah, I actually do. It's a phenomenal show. What do you think the oldest one is you've seen? Like, I know you've probably seen an episode of I Love Lucy.
No, I've seen I think multiple episodes of I Love Lucy. I just don't remember them very well.
Gotcha.
I remember more of Leave It to Beaver. I saw that one.
So it's funny we're
quite a
flipped
bit.
then, because I've only seen random episodes of Leave It to Beaver, and I've seen every episode of I Love Lucy, including this. They're not actually spin-offs, but spin-off movies pretty much that they have.
Wait, there are spin-off movies?
Yeah, so a little
Wait,
background to
wait.
I Love Lucy is that they're real people, both of them, Ricky Ricardo and Lucille Ball, were married in real life. Now, the difference being Lucille Ball is Lucy. Ricky Ricardo was actually played by, I'm blanking on his first name, but I believe his last name was like Alvarez. And they were married in real life. Like, that was an actual thing, is they were a married couple. And so that was also, this it works with evolution of sitcoms, so I'm glad I'm talking about this. They were married in real
Yes.
life, which made it acceptable. Obviously, in the 50s, not many people were happy that Lucille Ball, this actual famous women comedian, was married to someone of non-American descent, who had a heavy accent.
I was gonna say Alvarez in the 50s.
That's, yeah, no, it's like, let me make sure that's what his last name was, though, because, like, I'm pretty sure it was, but, oh, Arnez. So Desi Arnez.
Okay.
And Desi is from Cuba, born and raised, and then he moved to America, and he met Lucy. He was a musician before he was an actor, and that's what he is in the show. In the show, he was a musician.
He's from Cuba.
Come on in, you're safe here. I will not send you back to Cuba.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's
So-
so funny to me.
They were married in real life, and then they have multiple movies after I Love Lucy ended, because I Love Lucy was black and white, but they have multiple movies where they're playing themselves in both the show and in the movies. And there's movies about them that they made after, about pretty much just being like a married couple who gets into wacky stuff like they did in the television show. So it's pretty cool
True
to see.
love formed from hating communism.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
So for evolution, I think this is important because, like, we can talk about the cameras and theatrics and the laugh track, but I think another important thing is I'm going to teach Khalil something, which is in the 1950s, there was a very strict rule of television about what you can and cannot say, to the point where you couldn't say as a woman that you were pregnant. Do you know what you had to say instead?
Oh gosh, no. Expecting?
Nope. That's a good guess, though. That's not far off in some ways, I feel like.
I'm with child.
That's what it is.
Is it?
You had to say
I'm
I'm
pretty
with
damn good.
child. So when Lucille Ball got pregnant in I Love Lucy, they actually avoided showing her stomach in multiple episodes, and then eventually they had to admit to it because enough people figured it out through tabloids, and they had to, she was with child. She wasn't pregnant.
You can only hide that for so long.
Well, also, I just don't get how the word pregnancy implies sexual nature, but I'm with child doesn't.
People are always wild, no matter what era we're in.
Yeah, and so
They got some weird views, man.
absolutely. So I think evolution would be not just the how many cameras do you have, live studio audience versus laugh track, because I believe I Love Lucy was a live studio audience. In fact, I'm pretty darn sure
No.
it was, because I'm pretty sure Desi, who played Ricky Ricardo, used to go out and actually sing to the audience before the show to get them like warmed up and entertained. Go ahead with what you were saying.
Oh, I was gonna ask, is it the 1950s where they weren't allowed to show couples in the same
Okay,
bedroom,
so I have a
or is
gripe
that-
with that because, yeah, in I Love Lucy, they slept in separate beds. But in the very
Oh, they did in that
the
one.
very first sitcom in American television history, that Mary Kay and whatever I said earlier, I was looking into that show, and they slept in the same bed. And I don't even...
Heathens.
They were married in real life, too. And it's like,
Really?
Lucy and Desi were married in real life, so was it just because he was an immigrant? Or was it because they were like, whoa, we let that fly for 3 years and that was too risque. Now we need to dial it back. Like, that's kind of...
Because I mean,
Go ahead.
two people sharing a bed is I mean, the most sexual thing that you could ever do.
Apparently, I did not understand that at all. Like, growing up, I always I didn't even find it weird, which is funny. Like, growing up, I didn't care because I watched I Love Lucy with my mom a lot, and I watched it by myself, and I never even realized at first. Like, I remember asking my mom later on, like, why are they in separate beds? And she didn't know. She was just like, I don't know, that's how they used to do it. And she's like, actually, and I had a real life family member, my great grandmother. Her and my grandfather actually did sleep in separate beds in the same room. They were just like, it's just what they do. And I was like, oh, okay. It just was cool with it. Like, I was like, oh, cool.
I feel like some people, I would imagine, did it because like they probably hated their spouse.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's like the base of most American sitcoms is I hate my wife.
That is so true. Good tie back. Oh my goodness. But also like the fact that I mean, some people get disturbed by like their sleep gets disturbed by having someone in the same bed. There's also that. I mean,
maybe everyone was just autistic and didn't like being touched.
There's also that. Also, some people hog blankets. Let's be real.
Yeah, women, dog. No, I'm just joking. And so it's so hard to be sexist when you're not. It's just such a joke. Like, imagine hating somebody because of their gender. Outrageous. But
I'm outrageous. Sorry, guys.
But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think was the biggest evolution of sitcoms other than colored television? Because like, there's like I don't know. I think there was a shift at one point personally where it didn't have to be centered around the family. Leave It to Beaver, family. I Love Lucy, family. The Honeymooners, other than domestic violence and punching your wife to the moon, family. Like Dick Van Dyke Show, family. Andy Griffin Show was sketch comedy more, so that's a change in one of them. God, there's so many that I wonder if like because they still are. I mean, you could look at something even like Blackish or what are other modern sitcoms? I don't watch sitcoms anymore. I know Fresh Off the Boat's one that I found funny for a bit, but then it got tiresome really quick.
Oh, there's one about an elementary school.
Oh, Abbott Elementary is like a massively popular one. You're right. So that's like the modern day one. That's not about a family at all. That's about a school teacher cohort.
Yeah.
So, and then you have like Happy Days, which is where the Fonzie comes from. Which, by the way, I thought the guy who plays the Fonz is still alive, or he recently passed. No, he's still alive. Yeah.
No, he's alive.
He's funny, dog.
He recently cooked Bill Maher in a. They did a thing.
Awesome.
He cooked him, dude.
So the guy who plays the Fonz, he's funny. Is like a real life human. I was looking into Happy Days recently because I was like, man, that's one of the ones I guess I never watched growing up. They didn't play syndicated reruns, and dude, he was old when he played the Fonz. Look it up, Khalil. Look up Happy Days and look up the Fonz. Dude, he's old. He ain't no high schooler.
Hold on. So, okay, so he was a high schooler in that.
All the other characters were.
This is in the 70s?
Donnie Most. Yeah. No, it might be the 60s. I don't know. I actually don't know. You tell me when you look up Happy Days.
1974 is when it
look at the
started.
Fonz, bro. He's like 100 already. Hey. His name was Arthur Fonzarelli, if I remember correctly. Do you picture
what the hell? He did look so much older.
So much older than everyone else. It's insane.
How do you pass him as
also, like, can we talk about how we're getting a little off topic? Screw it, that might be more entertaining. Can we talk about how that Happy Days invented a literal lexiconnal usage of a phrase? Because the Fonz is the character who literally, not metaphorically, literally jumped a shark in an episode, and everyone said that was the worst episode they've ever seen of that show, and that's when it died. So, like, the phrase, oh, that show jumped the shark, comes from one episode of Happy Days because of how poorly it was received, as well as every episode after that. It means to hit it a literal extreme in a show because you have taken it too far, you have nowhere else to go.
I mean, 11 seasons. Yeah, where the hell were you going with that one? Should have put Fonz in the military.
Dude, that's the crossover the 70s needed. Wow, that's so funny. So I think the evolution of sitcoms from going to just the nuclear family of mom, dad, and if they have kids, expanding it to kids and their friends or a friend group in general. I think that was a really good method of the madness to sitcoms. I think that was a positive effect in the long term of things.
Oh yeah, so laugh track. So I assume, because I think you mentioned this too, that at the start it was definitely live audiences.
Yeah, it was. The beginning of sitcoms were a live audience. And they still, some sitcoms ran live audiences like through the 90s.
Actually first appeared in the 50s.
What does it say? Who? ABC.
First ever laugh track was first used when Bing Crosby show's producers used recorded laughter against less than enthusiastic audience reactions. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Hold on. I wonder what the last sitcom to use a live studio audience.
What?
There's no way that The Big Bang Theory had a live studio audience.
There's no way. There's no way. That was laugh track to hell.
That was laugh track to hell. Big Bang Studio was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
I do not.
And there's a posting right here from a guy. I went to a live filming of The Big Bang Theory.
When it first started?
He has photos. He did this in September 27, 2011, Burbank, California.
No way.
I'm so mind blown right now. Yo, so some shows might still be trying to force a live studio. There's multiple online postings of people going to one. Oh my God, there's the set. So I guess the evolution of laugh tracks versus live studios is a moot point because like they still exist in both formats. Wow.
The laugh track. I can't stand the laugh track, and I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, I think one of the few sitcoms I remember using it well is That So 70s Show. Like, that one felt natural for some reason. Also, that might have been a live studio audience now that I'm thinking about it. Because they only had 4 freaking sets. Hold on. That's so Raven.
1950s? You didn't have any like high profile black sitcoms that I could think of. But yeah, I mean that goes with the topic of the evolution.
Yeah, I mean the evolution of sitcoms. I mean, I personally find most black sitcoms to be 10 times better than most white sitcoms, but
they're better.
They are.
This is just fact.
So, evolution. I don't know if we have many talking points on that because I mean they evolve in so many different ways. Whether it's the writing, what they're allowed to say, obviously the use of like multiple characters, multiple cameras. So the evolution I don't think is ever ending either because one of the final stages of the evolution process of sitcoms would be the fact that animated sitcoms exist.
Yes.
Which started with the Jetsons way earlier than, you know what I mean? Like the Jetsons.
I was going to say, which we just recently found out was a very early thing.
Yeah, like I didn't realize how early some of these, like I knew the Flintstones and the Jetsons were on a long time ago, but I guess I didn't really think growing up that those counted as sitcoms. In my head growing up, a sitcom had to be real life action, laugh track, or live studio audience. Like I genuinely thought that was a hard and fast rule. But
I mean, honestly, I didn't even like have a concept of a sitcom when I was a kid watching any of the shows that I watched.
I think I did pretty early on because like if you watch something like Fresh Prince, The Nanny, which I love, George Lopez.
Oh my God, I forgot about The Nanny.
Yeah. I understood those were like formulaic as well as like Friends, and like I understood the like setup joke, setup joke, setup joke, setup joke, setup joke, serious moment, and some episodes took up the entire thing but would always end happy or like, whereas other shows like they're straight comedy shows like I mean SNL would be a skit show. You could look at like I don't know, I feel like there's examples out there that I'm blanking on in the moment, but like there are definitely shows that don't fit the sitcom formulaic strategy And then there's also like dramas, soap operas, action shows that like, so like they're, I kind of figured out they're like what a sitcom was without knowing the word, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then later you find out the word sitcom and you're like, oh, okay. And then because of how I saw them growing up, I saw the sitcoms as being real life only. And then because the way it was dubbed to us our whole lives is like Fox has pretty much owned animated sitcoms, and they've always called it adult animation or animation domination. Like they had those phrases for it. So it's like, it's really interesting. Dennis the Menace, Jesus Christ. So here, I think impact, since we've already kind of started touching on impacts of sitcoms through the decades. So I Love Lucy, I think, really was positive for, even though Lucy herself was like, and this isn't my terminology, I just think that it's a good way to get the point across of like, she was a ditzy buffoon. That was like her literal character. But she was also super empowered, where if she wanted to do something, she effing did it. She owned businesses. She got jobs. So like that, I think that was super influential for the idea of viewing women as humans, and also the idea that, hey, this literal immigrant in real life and in this TV show is married to one of the most famous actresses in American TV history. So I feel like that sitcoms almost feel like the avenue for acceptance, because like, name a sitcom that didn't teach you something. Without the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And yeah, there's some mad cheesy moments of that, but there's so many episodes of that can make me cry and can make me feel, and in every aspect of life, like the Fresh Prince helped set some of the morals I have in life without exaggeration.
Like I saw more black sitcoms growing up, and like Good Times, that was a pretty influential one too.
Family Matters,
like, Family Matters. And Good Times was in the 70s, So just a black family living in
Jefferson's.
Is it Chicago?
Yes, I believe so.
And the parents of the family have this, the dream is to move to the Upper East Side,
which is what the nicer. Jeffersons is about.
Yeah. So there you go. It's just like trying to, you got tough times, you're trying to get through it, and at the end of the day, you got your family.
Yeah, and then you can even look at something like Different Strokes, and obviously it's whitewashed with this, rich white guy adopting, black kids and stuff. But like, Different Strokes taught a lot of people. Literally, it's in this song titled like "Different Strokes for Different Folks." Like, just get along.
Yep.
Like, you think about that. You think about like, as much as people don't like him anymore, The Cosby Show is probably one of the shows I most heard quoted growing up of adults saying like, that taught me things.
Yes, that I was also going to bring that one up too. That was also influential, and it's like also, I mean, I know like in the black community that actually got a lot of backlash because it's like
it was whitewashed.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you can do this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Archie Bunker.
Yep.
Oh my God, like I didn't see a lot of that show, but like I saw some. I know what it's about, and it's like hey, this guy, he grew up with a certain mindset, and he's meeting all these people, and in doing so, changes his thoughts about minorities, especially, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
At that time was really
so like
really
that's what I'm saying is like certain shows really bring to light whether it's the the existence of people of color, of women, what they can do, how they're viewed and perceived in society. And then you jump forward to when I like how old people always act like the 70s and 80s and 90s there was no racism, and it's like, no, you just didn't broadcast it because you whitewashed it. But anyway, like in the 80s and 90s, it doesn't become that. It becomes like, oh, don't fat shame. Even though they still did it, they were like, don't do it. Or a lot of like Saved by the Bell and Family Matters, don't be a bully. Like, you know,
Yeah.
many times in Family Matters, Eddie was the bully, but then he learned his lesson. He's like, nah, man, you're now my friend.
Yep.
Like, or don't take two girls to the dance. That was actually an Eddie
Oh
trope.
my god.
He did that, bro.
He did that. He did that.
Like, it's crazy to think about the way in which it significantly impacts culture. Like sitcoms, this is not pre-planned. I actually might sit down and write a paper now about how I think sitcoms culturally change the eras that they are in. And they, like, you could sit there and say that, yeah, comedy in itself is a parody or a mere reflection of the time period in which it's from, but sitcoms aren't always comedy, and I think that's why they are such a good example of exactly what I'm trying to preach right now, where it's like they taught so many things outside of just comedy, like morals, how to respect. And I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously you have your throwaways. Like, we were literally before this talking about how Three's Company is in fact a show about a guy living with two girls and wants to bang them both consistently all the time, and he can't tell his landlord that he's trying to bang both his roommates because otherwise he won't be able to live there. Like, bro, I watched that when I was 5 to 9, didn't understand any of it, laughed at times where there was physical comedy though. Like,
Yeah, I actually I remember my mom was watching it because they got those channels now that show
TV
all
Land.
the old sitcoms. Yeah, TV Land. It came on. I was like, what is this show? And she explained it to me, and how she watched it growing up and thought it was like really funny. I was like, huh. That was my response. I was like, I don't think I could watch that now and get into it.
yeah, no, I get that, man. It's it is unique. It's kind of fun to sit here and like actually ponder on this idea that we're bringing up, because like there's obviously other shows that like we don't care about or like we didn't see. I mean, like Betty White had a TV show for F's sake. Gilmore Girls is a sitcom.
Her own.
Yeah, it was called the Betty White
Gilmore
Show.
Girls, but was that one of the more? No, that wasn't the more.
That was like
recent one.
1970s.
No, because what was the other? There was another one. It was like an old people prank show.
Oh, that's newer. Yeah. Or you have like Mork and Mindy with Robin Williams. Isn't he supposed to be like an alien in this or something? Yeah, he's literally an alien. Oh my God! Wait, Fonzie is in Mork and Mindy?
Really?
Not the actor. Fonzie is. Oh my God! Mork and Mindy is a spin-off of Happy Days. I thought Mork and Mindy was about Robert Williams. I thought his character was a freaking alien. Yeah, right here. Mork arrives on Earth in an egg-shaped starcraft. How is this a spin-off of Happy Days?
There's no way.
Bro, it is. The Fonz is in an episode.
It's canon, man.
Dude, in season 1, it literally, by definition, right here, says, tied with Happy Days.
That's so weird.
Dude, Mork attempts to take Richie Cunningham to his planet to Orc as a specimen, but is foiled by Fonzie.
Foiled by Fonzie. Oh, that's so good.
I am mind blown right now. Whoa. That's
gonna watch it.
Crazy. Yeah, Three's Company. 3 single roommates, Jack Tripper, Janet Wood. Oh, Jack Tripper, that's his name. That's why I know that name. Who are all platonically living together in Santa Monica, California.
I'm sorry, you mean California?
Yeah. Oh my God, they also stay at their local YMCA. So, yeah, this has Don Knotts in it. Don Knotts is a legend.
There's way too many ostriches.
I haven't seen too many things with Don Knotts, but goodness gracious, he's great. The Andy Griffin Show, Three's Company, a lot of movies I saw growing up. He's in a lot of skit stuff. He's in the new Scooby-Doo multiple times, like the show called The New Scooby-Doo from the 70s.
Yeah.
Why are there so many ostriches? That's Don Knotts. So
okay.
Gosh, so it's so interesting to think and like look at a list of ones you've never heard of, and then like you click on it and learn it was on for like 6 seasons and received high ratings.
So
You're just like, wait, what?
Some of these lasted a long time.
Oh, way long time. Like more than you would ever.
The
imagine.
Love Boat.
The Love
10
Boat.
season.
And also Gilligan's Island, where they hired a person of color who suffered from dwarfism to just play exactly that. That was his whole character.
I have seen a bit of Gilligan's Island, and I could not get into that. It's just,
Miami Vice is technically, I mean, it's more of action, but they got comedy tropes. It's just crazy, dude. Like, sitting here and looking at this stuff is absolutely crazy. And then like you get into like the 90s, 80s and 90s, and then when is I liked Married with Children, even though it's kind of just 1987, 11 seasons. Married with Children's phenomenal.
Jesus.
I actually have a skateboard deck that's just a poster of season 1 of Married with Children. Fun fact of the day.
That's
I'll
really
put
funny.
a picture of it here if I can find it.
When you first said that, I got it mixed up with My Wife and Kids.
My Wife and Kids was the other one I was wondering about, of when did that one come out. That was the other one, because I think that's 2000s. Yeah, so My Wife and Kids was
really
so good because, first of all, his son was so funny. I
Yes.
loved
Oh
the
my
freaking
God.
son. Watching him grow up as I was growing up was one of the greatest experiences ever. Like, he would just say the wildest stuff, and the fact that he was bald like his dad was always so funny to me.
Yeah. 2000 to 2005. Where I want to know how many seasons.
What's the other one that's like Married with Children? It's because I think is Married with Children, is that's Al Roker, that's him. So what is the other one that is very similar, but it's actually older? No, this is this Ted Bundy, or is that the serial killer?
Okay, this was 5 seasons. Got it.
Al Bundy.
So-
Ted Bundy's the serial killer. What was the guy I just said?
Yeah.
What was before that was the guy I just said?
I'm sorry. I was looking at this. I didn't catch it.
What is the show that is pretty
But
much the same?
I'm also thinking of
thing.
I'm thinking of Bernie Mac. The Bernie Mac.
The Bernie
show as
Mac
well.
show is one of my favorite shows growing up, like unironically. Like, it was legitimately one of my favorite shows growing up.
God, he was so freaking
He
funny.
was, the son was funny. The daughters used to just piss me off because, like, the older daughter
Yeah.
was just the stereotypical, I'm going to a party, I'm dressing like this, blah, blah, blah. And then the youngest daughter was just like, I'm going to mess up my brother's life and then smile at my dad and get away with it.
Yep.
Boy, I done told you. I do. Oh my God. He
Yo,
used to
Bernie,
scare me in such a funny way.
Oh my God, Bernie Mac. Now we're this is it. This I feel like we could do a real deep dive because I mean, like, we haven't even gotten to like the other like.
Well, we're at
Disney
if we
Channel
move to, well, here's the
type
thing. I was wondering
sitcoms.
about that too, because like for Disney Channel, I mean, That's So Raven might be the only one I care about, because like Boy Meets World, I watched it but I didn't care about it.
Yeah, I did not care about it. Boy Meets World.
Corey in the House, didn't care.
I actually really liked Corey in the House, but there's some other ones that I watched.
Nickelodeon had iCarly, which was the only one I liked, because like Sam and Cat sucked. Victorious sucked.
Okay, so there was.
I liked Lizzie McGuire on.
Lizzie McGuire is the one I was going to bring up. Lizzie McGuire, I watched that a lot, loved it.
Sweet Life and Zach and Cody, I guess. Oh, Hannah Montana, Proud Family.
Hannah
God,
Montana,
I forgot that these belonged to them.
Yep. There was a lot, dude. And
I didn't care for Wizards of Waverly Place. Didn't care for.
I
Boom,
loved
Good Luck
Wizards of
Charlie.
Waverly Place.
Good for you.
Wizards of Waverly Place. I would
Austin
Die on a
Alley
Hill,
didn't care.
loved it.
That's So Raven.
Austin
loved
and
it.
Alley was not good. I think Austin and Alley was kind of a downfall.
I mean, if we're counting this, so here's the thing: do we count children's cartoons as sitcoms? I don't think we should count Kim Possible or Phineas and Ferb as sitcoms.
I would not count those as sitcoms. But
I
Proud
don't
Family,
either.
Yes, Proud Family was a sitcom.
Proud Family was a sitcom through and through. Actually, that's a fair argument, and I will actually agree with that one.
I remember, like, I don't know, the one that always sticks out to me is the one where they're like, it's like the Black History Month episode, and it's like the main character Penny, she falls asleep and has like this dream of going back.
Yes.
That one is always on my mind. Like,
the one that's always on my mind is because it's the most self racism thing I could ever think of in a children's show, which is the fact that the Hood children are so dark they're navy blue.
yeah.
And there's one episode where the Proud Family is trying to start a local baseball team, and Penny gets them to join them. And what's the dad's name? Is it
Oscar? I think it's Oscar.
Yeah, and so he's trying to get the kids from the Hood to like play baseball, and they're with it, like, and they get on base, and then he tells the tall one with braids to steal a base, And the joke is she
And
picks it up and
steals
runs.
it, dude. I remember that. As you were setting the scene, everything was coming back to me.
That one lives rent free in my head, dog.
Oh my god, that show was great. I love.
Well, because
that
also
show
the Proud
so
Family comes from like that same thing. So this is a deep cut for our friends of color, because I doubt a lot of our white friends know what I'm about to say. But like Bebe's Kids is what this is all coming from.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean, if you have, I don't care what race or ethnicity you are, watch Bebe's Kids. But yeah, God, I forgot Disney Channel did. The Cartoon Network is all cartoons. I don't think they had a single show I'd call a sitcom.
No.
It's not. Oh God, is it? What was the name I said earlier? What is the other angry? I'm just gonna look up angry sitcom dads, because
Angry sitcom dads.
well, it's gonna be a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because like we said, there was a time where like this whole thing of sitcoms was I hate my wife, I hate my kids. Like Married with Children is literally that. Yeah, because that's Al Bundy from Married with Children. Frank Costanza. Wow, dude, we haven't even got to Seinfeld. I'm not gonna lie, I actually love Seinfeld. I think it's so good.
I tried a couple episodes. I couldn't really get into it. I thought I didn't like the joke deliveries.
Well, that's
personally.
the point of it. Is like, so I'm not joking. The point of whatever the Seinfeld is, if you read their pitch, like Seinfeld has a whole bit about how when he went into, I think it's NBC, his pitch for it was, it's going to be a show about nothing. And they were like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, it's just going to be a show about a friend group. Because in that show, because we're young and we watched it knowing they were old, so in the show, they're not as old as they look. They're like in their mid to late 20s at the beginning. And the show is just a joke and commentary on like, what the hell do 20-year-olds turning 30 do every day? That's the actual point of the show.
Maybe I'll have to give it another chance.
I freaking love it, dude.
That one I just could not get into.
Archie Bunker, that was one of them, and he is All in the Family. He was the one that like Family Guy makes fun of, because Family Guy's intro is based on All in the Family's intro of them singing at the piano, and All in the Family is the show they make fun of, where it's like if there was ever a TV dad to hit his children, it was him.
Gotcha.
So like,
yeah,
it's funny that that's a trope in sitcoms after a while, is dad hates kids, dad hates wife, dad makes too much money and complains he makes no much money, but look at your MFing house.
Right.
You can have 3 kids that piss you off because they're playing 16 sports and your house is 2 stories with a finished basement. Yeah, you're not making enough money, bud.
G.I. Bill.
Dude, Full House.
Full House.
Full House.
I loved Full House.
Fabulous sitcom. That taught me a lot of lessons as well growing up, especially with that taught me how adults can be like messed up towards each other and that they all have emotions. Like when like Jesse and his wife were going through it and they were literally like pretty much divorced except for signing the paperwork for like multiple seasons, yet they still lived in the house together. Whoa, blew my mind as a child. I was like, what? Because then they would also play an episode after that was from earlier when they were still together. And I'd be like, I thought they weren't together.
I watched that show every night.
Oh yeah, that. So the ones I watched every night was The Nanny, Friends, and George Lopez. Because Nick at Night.
Oh my god, we haven't talked about The Nanny. We haven't talked about George Lopez. God, there's so
George
much we could
Lopez
talk
is
about,
like watching it as an adult.
Not the same.
Does not hit the same. It's very self-racist. Like I get it that it wasn't necessarily for. Like I don't think George wanted it to be for the audience it became for, based on some of the jokes early on. And then after a while, it literally does turn like, Hispanic Americans into like kind of punching bags in many ways, especially his mom.
Yeah.
That's how I learned what chlamydia was. His mom gets it. She calls it the clap, and I was like, I remember being a kid, and I clapped after she said it, and I was like, what? I was like, you have the clap, and I like clapped. I was like, what does that mean?
Oh,
like
God,
in tears.
so
What does that
funny.
mean?
I do remember that. Oh, yeah. No, there's so much we could talk about. We haven't even with Austin. We're not. We've gotten so off the cuff.
I know
here.
we have like no time left, so
Just
let's
saying.
do question 5 and then look at some of the questions to ask each other. So question 5 is the sitcom tropes we love, we hate. I like the quirky neighbor. Don't care. Love it.
The quirky
I like
neighbor.
the person that comes over every episode or every other episode and just annoys one member
Okay.
of the family, but everyone else likes them.
So hear me out. There were some that I really liked. There was one in particular that I did not like, and there was a character in Sister Sister,
Oh, the boy?
Stanley. His name was Stanley.
Dude, I need
he
to
would
see his
come
face, but I
over
know
and
what
he-
you're talking
And
about.
he would hit on the sisters
Yes.
every episode,
yeah.
and it would always make me uncomfortable.
Because we were too young to understand that. Yeah. Are you sure his name was Stanley, not Steven?
Maybe it was. It's an S name.
If you figure out, I mean, I know who you're talking about, but I want to put a face to that because
Oh my God, no! I'm sorry. It's Roger.
Roger,
It's
thank you.
Roger. Go home, Roger.
Go home, Roger.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Go home, Roger.
I see where this is headed. Go home, Roger.
Oh yeah, he was such a
I-
fuck boy. He's a
Yeah,
pretty boy.
I got
Wow,
the-
look at him.
Yeah, I got it mixed up with That's So Raven. Stanley is That's So
Yeah,
Raven.
there it is.
Roger is Sister Sister.
Wow, you're right. Go home, Roger. I turn around and go home.
Yeah.
You don't do the I.
So that is the quirky neighbor that I hated. The quirky neighbor that I absolutely loved, Steve Irwin.
Yeah, but that
okay?
show, like, openly, if you look into any documentation about that show, he was supposed to only last 1 to 2 episodes, but people
Yeah,
loved
he
him
lasted the
to where he became
entire
the
thing.
main character.
Yeah,
almost.
and I know he doesn't like going back to that character and whatnot.
No.
But like I love the character.
No,
he did
yeah.
such a great job.
Absolutely.
He did.
Um,
Catchphrases, I could do without catchphrases.
I was about to say that one's a hit or
honestly.
miss because some of them are good.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not happening every episode, I think a catchphrase is worth it. If you're sitting there with the
Yes.
Fonz doing the "ay" every episode, I take it, leave it, gone, bye, adios. Fonz. Oh, Roseanne, that was a great show, dude. Just talking about
I didn't
white
watch
trash
much
families.
Roseanne.
Oh, it was a sitcom about white trash. It was sick.
And then look what she became. Sorry.
Jesus. Well, she
I'm
kind of is.
sorry. She kind of is. dude.
Anyway. God.
Okay, she became crazy. That's something for another day. But she became crazy.
Yeah, an insane amount actually, because she was like a pretty groundbreaking woman comedian for a while there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sitcoms with catchphrase. I think as long as you don't overdo it. Love triangles. That's in every sitcom. I don't think it would create
Everyone.
conflict amongst the friend group unless they did it. Like That's So 70s Show overdid it. They had like 6 different times there was a love triangle amongst the boys, and it's just like, oh my god, get over it. All of you are virgins except for one of them anyway. That doesn't matter. I was just making jokes, but like, yeah. So I could probably leave love triangle behind. Why do
Yeah.
sitcoms fail is actually a pretty good question. The answer is overplayed, overdone, oversaid, I think is the best way to put it. It is very easy
Yeah.
to think you have an original idea, and I mean, look at us, a podcast with 2 people
Right.
that have penises, super original. But like,
the most American.
exactly.
Anyway.
And so like, you know what I mean? It's like, so you could think you're being original, you can think you're being cool, you can think you're being fun, but in reality, you're probably just restating something that's already been done without even realizing it. Sometimes even, and like.
I mean, I think that's the big thing when it comes to media in general.
Absolutely.
It's like I don't think that there's really an original idea.
No, I don't think there
anymore.
has
Like,
been in a very long time.
You play off of something that exists.
Which is like, we live, especially from like, I want to say around 2018 to now, like comedy goes in eras, and we've been in the post-irony era for a while now, where like the whole thing is like, it's not even sarcasm, but everyone does ironic stuff. Like even the people I like I'm getting so tired of like some of my favorite commentary channels or personalities online. They think it's still funny, and they probably only will for another year, but they like doing the like actually, like the Reddit or like weeb shit voice,
yeah.
and it's just like, dog, that was funny for like a year, 2
Yeah.
years ago.
You can pull it off, but you gotta like, it has to be like, Oh, I wasn't expecting them to do that.
Right, and
Oh God.
but yeah, I think sitcoms fail because, well, first of all, if they're not funny, but then
If they're
I
not
actually
funny.
think the best way to fail as a sitcom is focusing only on comedy. The best sitcoms
Yeah.
have heartstring moments. The best sitcoms make you fall in love and then hate a character. There needs to be redemption
Well-
arcs. There needs to be a mission, a goal, a drive, a passion. It can't just be joke, 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 joke. Like, I hate The Office. Hate it.
Oh God, The Office.
Office ruined comedy. I hate most millennials that are a fan of The Office. First of all, if you're a fan of The Office, as much as some people are, you also probably have a Harry Potter tattoo.
Parks and Rec was better.
Parks and Rec was so good, and I still sometimes get
So
angry at that show because it's too millennial comedy.
Knows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to think of some others that I've seen that didn't last very long, but I feel like all the ones that I watched lasted for quite a while.
Right. Sitcoms are either iconic or well known. I don't think there's many sitcoms that, like, if you're not one of those
Yeah.
two, you probably failed. Which is
Oh,
nuts
yeah.
to say because sitcom, we're learning, is such a vast category. It has had a lot more shows than you. We didn't even touch on animated ones, which is Khalil and I's favorite, and we can't because then this will be 16 hours long. Here, let's rapid fire these questions. What's your favorite sitcom if you can pick one? And who's your sitcom character you relate to the most?
Ooh, favorite sitcom. Oh, that's a great question. Ooh, because I have a hard time remembering like 2000 sitcoms.
I'm not gonna lie, mine might be King of Queens.
King of Queens. Mine.
Here, top three: Bernie Mac,
it's-
I Love Lucy, King of Queens. Those are my top three.
Okay. Family Matters. My Wife and Kids.
That's so good.
and Probably, honestly, That's So Raven.
Yeah, that was almost cracking my list. That's So Raven almost made it. And there was Family Matters
Dude,
would have been my other one that almost made it.
That episode about not smoking. Oh my God, that hit me.
I like I like the science fair episode where I think she ruins her brother's project, I believe. Anyway, yeah, so those are all great.
Yeah.
Such good shows. Character I relate most to, that'd be a hard one, man. I'm trying to think if there's anyone.
I don't know.
Mine might
I saw
be
that question
Uncle
earlier, and I was like, I don't know.
Mine would be the uncle that lives in the basement in Full House.
Uncle Joey.
Joey. I'm a Joey, but not
Okay.
not from Friends. I'm not. That guy's like a pervert. That's like his whole character.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who I'd be, honestly. I tried to think of that, and I'm like, I don't know. Who do I relate to the most? That's such a good question.
Yeah, because you grew up watching him. So in my head, when I first thought about the question, I was like, oh, which kid in a sitcom am I like? And then I'm stopping. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm almost 30.
You're right.
So I think Uncle Joey's my answer, straight up. I'm a funny guy. I care deeply, and I'll do a lot for the people I love. But I'm also just goofing off most of the time.
Yeah, for me, I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. That's really hard for me, actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to pinpoint you too, and it is a little bit difficult because I have you in different eras in my head. I think so that makes it difficult. Like I think Kid Khalil I could pin down pretty quick because you were small. No, I'm joking. Because it's a lot of.
There you go, Uncle Joey, right there.
There's a lot of characters that I think you and I very much were growing up. Like my mom used to compare us to certain cartoon characters, like when we were hanging out, because like how well we got along. You know what I mean? So it's like I think I could do that easy, but like as an adult, yeah, it's kind of harder. Well, here maybe if we think of it before we hit end, we'll come back. But otherwise, best sitcom, which is different than favorite. I think the best sitcom.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I take out. I do really like King of Queens, so maybe Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is in my top three. I guess it would replace the Bernie Mac show, and Bernie Mac would go fourth. It'd be I Love Lucy, Fresh Prince, and King of Queens. Best sitcom I've ever seen. I actually do think for me it's potentially Seinfeld. Just because like knowing the history of it, knowing like the episodes and how ridiculous they get, the bits that exist from Seinfeld in other shows. Like I think Seinfeld might be the best sitcom that exists. My most overrated would be The Office, hands down. The worst sitcom I've ever seen that
The
was
Office is very
popular.
overrated, yeah.
Ooh, it's one that's on recently. Mike and Molly.
Okay.
hypotheticals. If you could be in a sitcom
Sorry,
universe, which would it be? I would be.
Oh, jeez, that's a good one.
In. Damn, that is difficult. Saved
I
by
don't
the
know.
Bell,
That's
and
a
I'd be
good
the
one.
weird guy that they never talk about. No, I'm just joking. Power Rangers.
Power Rangers as a sitcom. That'd be so funny.
The answer might just
Oh,
be
man.
Family Guy.
Oh my god, I forgot about Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh God, dude, being white trash growing up, that show was something. I wasn't actually white trash. That's just a joke about.
Oh no, 2.5 Men.
Oh, I actually
forgot
watched
about
that show growing up, thought it was funny, and then I
Oh,
got to teenage years, and I was
jeez.
like, this is bad.
Not, yeah, it was.
I would be in Futurama,
You know what?
straight up. What sitcoms handled sensitive topics the best, like race, gender? I think Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince is the first thing that popped to my head.
Because it touches on all of
That
them at
or-
multiple times.
Yeah.
Is it
that or Parks and Rec.
Marvin? Is it the show Marvin where my man gives the kid a pair of Jordans because the kid's at the cafe, and he's like, "Man, I like your shoes," and he just like looks at him and he's like, "Here you go, man." Who would you want as your roommate from a sitcom is a great freaking question, dude.
Oh yeah.
Martin, not Marvin. Martin. It is Martin. There's an episode where he just straight up gives a kid a pair of his Jordans at the cafe. That's such a good show too. Sitcom person I want to be my roommate. Dang, that's a good question. Eddie from Family Matters.
That's
We'd be
great.
balling out.
Oh man. Oh shoot. Who would I do? I mean,
The Fonz. Hey.
Hey. Oh my god, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's such a good show.
Shoot. I feel like it I am such a big lover of Parks and Rec. It would have to be one of those characters.
Ron
The only
Burgundy.
problem is I don't know if I can do
No,
Ron.
but here, all of them are too
Ron-
much. Like, the only one you could probably live with would be Rob Lowe's
Ben.
character, who's obsessed with working out when he's depressed.
I was thinking of either Ben or Andy.
Andy'd be too
but-
much, man. He'd come home, we'd be eating pudding in a tub.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was like, probably not. Ben, yeah, he's nerdy.
Yeah, Ben actually might be the
I could
most
get along.
normal human to live with.
Yeah.
So fair.
I think he is quite normal.
He is, except for he's
actually.
obsessed with women in roller skates filibustering.
Yes.
That's my favorite episode, by the way, the filibuster and roller skates episode.
Oh my god.
That or
show
the
is
one
so good.
where they do everything is too big sized and pawny, and they're like the baby sizes
the
of
child,
child.
size.
It's the size of a
like
child.
Literally the size of a dude. I come back to that joke all the time.
Such a good episode.
It's so good.
Oh my god. All right. I think so. We just hit literally an hour. So with my edits and cuts, that makes it probably 55 minutes or more. So hey everyone, thanks for checking in. It's way after hours.
We love you.
We do love you. Unless you don't subscribe, then see if I come to your barbecue.
You get out of here.
But enjoy your TV and sitcoms, friends. Let us know your favorite sitcom, your favorite character, and I think the best question of all is which character from a sitcom would you want to be roommates with? I think that question's actually
That's
so
a
good.
great
So we're gonna
question.
leave you there. Peace.
Peace.